Okay, well, I think we're recording now. It's Mark Atwood here, the Mark Atwood Show, Adventures in a Meat Suit. Today I'm joined by Leeowen Barnes. Hello, Leeowen.
Hi there. How's it going, Mark?
Good, very well, thank you. I have to squeeze these in between work and kids, so it's kind of lunchtime here. Leeowen and I connected about 2 weeks ago after I did the talk on Charlie Ward, and there was one thing you picked up on in particular, wasn't there?
Yes, what you were talking about, I think entities and energy and spirit and stuff like that. The moment I heard you sort of talking along the lines of, I'd had this experience with this dark shadow that looked like it had horns and things like that, and I thought, hang on a minute, this guy is, he's definitely onto something here, because I'd also experienced, very similar things, and more than experienced, I think, with the nature of the work I do in the healing and stuff. I can help people sort of rectify and get rid of these things.
Well, so, yeah, that's very interesting to me, because I didn't expect to talk about that stuff at the time.
No,
but that stuff has been at the forefront of my mind, especially over the last few years, where it was very, very clear that there were some really dark entities that I had to get rid of. And I think I mentioned the healers just appeared out of nowhere and got rid of stuff. And it was just an extraordinary experience. And then I think I mentioned the fact that a spirit through a medium asked me if I wanted to be an exorcist. So, yeah. And then it turns out that you're an exorcist, basically. So that's why I thought I'd get you on the show. So
yeah,
talk about this lovely subject that people probably. I just had a friend come round earlier. She said, "How are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm going to be talking about entity possession in about 20 minutes." She went, "What's that?" So I know some people. Hopefully this conversation will reach people who don't know what it is. So let's go back in time then and talk about your experiences as a child, because I know that's where it starts with you, isn't it?
Yes. Well, I kind of come into enlightenment really sort of more so probably in my late 20s, early 30s. But I always had sort of weird experiences as a child. I found that like a lot of the time I'd always have this like a kind of voice sort of talk to me. I didn't know where it came from, had no idea what it was. Those sorts of things, I think, and obviously up to sort of speed now, I kind of say it could have been a spirit guide, it could have been a spirit. I wasn't sure what it was, but it was, as I said, it wasn't until that opened the floodgates for me was a psychedelic experience. Basically, had a magic mushroom experience. Pretty much OD'd on them, for a better word. That was pretty much the ego death kind of situation. And I think from then on, it really opened up, and all those abilities, the psychic abilities, so to speak. And from then on, I found that I was sort of thinking, okay, I'm getting all these, I'm like a radio antenna now. I'm picking up all these different frequencies and different things, and I was like, can I do this with inside myself? Can I go in and sort of see if there's anything with me? So, which is what I done. I sort of thought, right, okay, I'm going to ask some questions, and I sort of said, hi there, is there anything with me that shouldn't be? And it was a bit quiet, and then suddenly I got a response saying, yes, there is something with you, Leeowen. But okay, what's your name? And this gentleman, or energy or whatever it was, said to me, Leeowen, hi, I'm John. And I said, okay, hello there, John. I said, how long have you been with me for? And his response was, I've been with you since you were 10 years old. And I thought, okay, that's quite interesting. And I said, what is the purpose of you being with me? And he replied, or this was within myself at the time, he said, I like you, Leeowen, because I like your light and I like your energy. And I said, okay, so you're not supposed to be with me then? And he said, no, I just like being with you. And I said, well, unfortunately, buddy, you've been taking a joyride with me for the last 20 years, and it's time for you to go, sort of thing. And he was like, oh no, he was pleading with me, I don't want to go. I really want to stay with you, Leeowen. Like, I'll do anything. I'll help you. I'll do this. I'll do that. And I was said, like, sorry, I can't have it, you know. So basically, I asked within inside myself. I said, right, now this is the time. I no longer want you with me. I want this to be removed, and I want you to go. And I also I'm going to send you to the light where you're supposed to go. So I obviously done a bit of research on, you know, energy and light and the creator or the God source or anything, you know, what you want to call it. So I'd done this, and then suddenly, within my mind's eye, I just see him get sucked out of me and then straight into the light, and then he'd gone. But the weird thing is, Mark, I had after I'd experienced that, I didn't realise how much my energy was so codependent on this other entity being with me. I actually then no longer knew who I was or felt.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah.
So, you know, and then I thought, okay, right, we'll see, you know, where this goes. And after a couple of days, my energy sort of balanced off, and that was that. And obviously I started to meddle with the idea of there was energy and spirit coming through left, right, and centre. Especially when I was asleep, they would bug me and annoy me. And then I thought, okay, all right. And there was one gentleman who I used to work with.
I get that a lot.
Yeah. Do you? What, even now you still get the old?
Well, you know, last night I had an unbelievable pineal gland thing, like a movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether this. I mean, I'm only bringing this up because it's the forefront of my mind. It was like I lay down and I close my eyes and I literally ask, okay, what have you got to show me?
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, and sometimes it doesn't work at all. And it has, you know, the last few weeks has not been very active at all. But last night, it was such a hyper real movie. And it was this huge fire in a building that was through a glass window. And people started jumping out of the windows, and I was trying to get to them to rescue them. And then I was like, I can't cope with this. I had to get out of it. And this was on a day where I'd had a flat tire. The computer didn't work. The computer was going slow. The phone didn't work. I had gremlins on the interview yesterday. I couldn't turn off. It was just like one of those, and then of course the Schumann resonance has flatlined in the last day or two. And then I just got a message from David I spoke to yesterday to say that this explains the gremlins, which is like these solar flares connected. Now, I'm only bringing that up because I think it is all connected, but you might have a different take on that. I've noticed over the last few years, it has been going through waves, and I think it's all quite different for all of us because the Earth itself and the energy and the frequency is definitely changing and has changed dramatically. And I think, like probably quite a few of your followers and stuff, I think the end of 2012, I remember saying to my close friends, I said, right, guys, it's been nice knowing you. I'm ascending to the next level, you know, I'm now going, see you later, guys. And then sort of the weird thing is not a lot really sort of happened, so to speak, but even though I didn't sort of go into the Never Land, I found that there was a massive transition that did actually take place within inside of me. And then that's when I had a very weird experience where I was like, I felt like not very well, to the point where I was hallucinating. There was some weird stuff going on. And then when I woke out of this sort of slumber, I found that I'd actually had some sort of bodily fluids from me taken. And I was getting vivid flashbacks of things. And I was thinking, whoa, I don't like this. I don't know what's going on here, but there's something weird that's been going on while I've been asleep. So I'd sort of done some investigative work into that. And you know, we're going off world kind of ETs or extraterrestrials, whatever they were non-human biological entities, you know, from what I can gather. And the feeling, and that's because I'm an empath, probably like yourself, you know, you feel things, and those feelings, they can give you a direct dial into what something is real or if something is not. It's almost if like the bullshit detector, so to speak. You'll know whether something's genuine.
So yeah, so having those kind of experiences was very strange at that sort of time. But sort of getting off on a tangent there. But
Yeah, my
yeah,
fault. Right, let's get back to entities.
yeah, get back to entities, right?
They're attacking you. They come to you in the night and they bother you at night.
Yeah,
That's what you're saying.
100%. I think and they have came in waves. They definitely come in waves. From my experience, I found that I've cleared through the healing work and stuff. A lot of my my spiritual guide, bless his heart, he's not with me anymore. He's on to somebody else and helping someone else now. There's one of my spiritual guides was called Elias, and he was with me a lot. It was like a father figure. But since that sort of psychedelic experience, I really had this open communication. I could speak to him like I'm speaking to you, now. It was just amazing. And he told me so much. He really made me understand about the world around us, about how, like, literally, 99 point something% of all around us is you can't see, Leo, and you're not dialed into those frequencies, and these entities, they run everywhere. And some of these entities I found, you do draw them in through I don't want to use the word law of attraction, but for example, I'll give an example. If you had a really bad, say, drug addiction of some sort, that within your energy would open up holes, vortexes, and then you would be drawing in some sort of entity. Would that be on a similar wavelength of yourself, which they would then come in and then suddenly would almost enhance the horrible kind of thing that you could be experiencing, which I found that to be quite dominant throughout my whole life. Like, and with the work in the healing work that I've sort of done over the last few years, it was crazy. I was getting to the point where I was walking past people and I could see people's energy, and they're screaming out to me saying, please help me, please help me, please help me. And I could almost see like it was like an invisible head of a particular person would just turn around and look at me and go, you can see me, can't you? You know that I'm here. I need your help, Leon. I need your help. And I'm like, whoa, oh, hang on, this is too much. And it got like that really frequently. So, and one of the best stories that I got, that I experienced, there was an old neighbour. She was I think she had some sort of, she had some sort of psychiatric help and need, and she was on all these drugs for hearing voices and things like that. And it really messed her life up, and she didn't understand where these were coming. They were telling her to do silly things, jump off a bridge, those kind of nasty, horrible entities and things. And I said to her one day, I said, look, if you fancy it one time, I do this thing called healing, and basically I may be able to help you. She said, yeah, Leo, and that'd be great, So I said, right, if you don't mind being my guinea pig, let's do it. And I removed 7 entities from her. And these entities, there was a couple of them that were quite vicious. They were quite strong, and I needed my spirit team or guardian angels or whatever you want to call it. I had them really close by, and they were really, that was like, it was like good against evil. It was like there was a fight going on, and they literally, one of my spirit guides came in on a horse, literally tied this thing up and pulled it away, and then just ran into the light with it and had taken it away. And I could see all this all unraveling in my mind, and I'm like, whoa, this is the feelings that it was giving me. But these entities were knocked off, Mark. They were very, very unhappy that I'd A, busted them, and B, that I managed to remove them.
Well,
that was really, that was really strong. But the lady herself, she came off all her drugs that she was, psychotic drugs that she was taking. And now, from what I can believe, she moved out. She went to a different place. She's doing her dream job that she wanted to become a carer of some sort. And funny enough, I've not heard nothing from her now. So I believe that, that she's okay. But at the time, I did ask her. I said, "Oh, how's things?" She said, "Leo, and I feel." She goes, "I feel strange." I said, "Well, what do you mean you feel strange?" She says, "I feel quiet." And I said, "Yeah, because that's how you're supposed to feel, And then I think one of the biggest questions is, Mark, is where do these entities come from and why?
Well, I'd like to get into that, but you brought up so many things there. That I think we just need to just touch on a few of those things before we move on to that. So just hold that thought about where and why.
Right.
The first thing that you said that I thought was really interesting is this fact that, and I think it is a fact, that there are things going on all around us that we can't see. Now,
100%.
Personally, I first realized that in my physics class at school, when they were talking about, here's the light spectrum and here's visible light.
Yes, that's right.
I remember putting my hand up and going, well, what about the rest of it?
What about the rest of it?
Yeah. They were like, oh, don't worry about that. and then I actually walked out of my physics A-level class because I did a talk on the fact that they taught us that light travels in straight lines, right? But then in the A-level, in the O-level, and in the A-level, they taught us that it doesn't, it travels in waves. And I did a sort of thesis about this, and then the teacher basically looked at the book and said, no, it's not in the book. I can't give you a good, and I just went, piss off. I walked out and I gave up physics and realized what a load of bollocks we were being taught at school. So that, and I think David Icke definitely talks about that as well, the visible light spectrum. There's all this stuff and tuning into it. You know, and the people that I've met over the last half century that can see auras, living in Ireland, I've met loads of people who see the little people. People, right? They see them, right? The fairies.
Oh, yes, they are very real. The astral realm is obviously it coincides with our current realm. And they are, goosebumps, That's resonance of truth.
Well, you said before this call that there were loads of spirits around you, but
yes, there was.
This is what we're going to talk about, and I'm feeling them now.
Yeah.
I mean,
they've been waiting. I think they've been waiting for this call, Mark. I think the energy has been waiting for this call, definitely.
Well, you know, there's things like the ESETI Ranch. I don't know if you've heard of that in the States, where people see little gnomes, little guys with red hats running around. And I've just been fascinated by this my whole life. And I'm not saying that I see fairies and I see gnomes, and I
have seen such things with my mind's eye. I've seen,
but I do. I do see a lot of things. And the other thing I was going to say that you brought, so there's a couple of things before we move on to where and why and everything else. But you mentioned mushrooms. Now I want to talk about mushrooms briefly because before this satanic cult took over the world, via religion and everything else, where it literally murdered everybody. It destroyed indigenous populations, it burnt the witches, it did all of that. Before all of that, pretty much the whole world was pretty happy running around eating cannabis, eating magic mushrooms, basically microdosing on mushrooms, right? And what I think that mushrooms do is they open you up, and you see, it's a bit like peyote. I was talking the other day about peyote ceremony that I did, and it just opens you up and you start seeing and feeling the energy of all the plants and rocks and everything. And you realize that everything has a consciousness, right? And then you end up being a tree hugger like me. And that's why in Japan they call it, I think they call it forest bathing, when you walk through, because you get the energy. And a lot of what they've done to us specifically, and I think this great awakening period we're in now is about undoing this, is block us off from these abilities so that they can harvest us, right? So they've been harvesting the human race by blocking us off by our birthright, which is connection to the universe, connection to all living things around us, and that oneness that we feel with the universe, which they've blocked off. So, and also to back that up, I know from the work that in my business life, I know that the next big thing in medicine is the element in mushrooms that allow you to do that. And I don't like the way that that's going, because there are people doing like genetically modified versions of creating, I can never pronounce the word, psilocybin. That's it, psilocybin. So they're doing that on yeast instead of so it's not in the non-natural format to put it to, and this is going to happen. So that was the mushrooms bit I wanted to cover, and the other bit I've forgotten.
Well, as you say, Mark, with regards to the mushrooms, it was beautiful, because when you go for a psychedelic experience, like I've seen that you've experienced ayahuasca on it a few times. What you find as you've experienced is that it does open up the levels of your consciousness to brand new frequencies and energies. And not only that, it shoves forward your deepest fears, they all come to the surface. They come right to the top. They, right, Leeowen, this is your fear. And at the time when I had that experience was I think it was being in a dark place and being alone and dying. But which actually all came to light when I actually asked my spirit or my higher self give me that I was on a battlefield in a previous life, and basically I was on this grass verge somewhere, and I was dying by myself, and I didn't want to die by myself, and it was dark, and I was all by myself, and that it's amazing that fear from that point and that event and that time had still stuck to my subconscious.
Yeah.
And I brought that through into this life as well. So well, that's another.
It's a very common story of ayahuasca, especially that the first thing you get shown is something to terrify you. You know, a friend of mine basically said he got strangled to death to get rid of your fear of death.
Yeah.
And one of the, and there are other people that, I'm a Reiki too, and I've done work in that area as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that are very spiritual, people I really respect, have said things to me, you don't need plants, you don't need ayahuasca because it opens you up to other entities.
No, you do.
You constantly got this conflicting view about, another person I know, she just saw demons all the way through this, what she described as demons, There are people that say, well, you're just creating that or whatever. But let's get to the question of what they are and where they come from and why they're here. Okay. Oh no, the other thing I was going to tell you about, it's just come to me, was I lived in Morocco for nearly 4 years, and in Morocco, the idea of the jinn, which is
I know about the jinn
for demons, they literally plan their day around the movement of the jinn. So, like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they know that they like hanging around toilets apparently, and they come in through the sinks, so they be careful when they make their dinner, and it literally, they have a complete awareness, and it's just part of their life.
Yeah.
Because and the people in Morocco are far more connected to the earth than, say, in the UK now, or elsewhere in the civilized, European Western world. So, these things are 100% real as far as I'm concerned. Anybody watching this might question that, but let's get to what you know.
About talking about the jinn. There was an Indian guy that I got in contact with probably about 3 years ago. And he had this website, and he was basically saying that for obviously an X amount of money, he can sort out that I perform a ritual so that I can have a jinn work for me to be able to help me, for whatever cause.
Well, actually, in the golden, in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, they teach you jinn magic.
Okay.
Where you can create a jinn to work with it. It's similar to sigil magic. The next step up from that is creating your own kind of slave that gets things.
That's right. You become the master of this jinn. Yeah. I mean, that was quite interesting.
Sounds quite dangerous to me.
What's that? Sorry?
It sounds dangerous to me.
It is, and it's not. I mean, I have actually still got all the divination. What's the term that use it? The I don't know. There's a term that you use to summon them, don't you? And basically, it's a real. You wear all white. It has to be at a certain time of the day. You have to recite this these words continuously for like 21 days straight at precisely about a precise amount of part of the day. And when you get to the point where you start seeing the shadow of the jinn on the shadow, say on the curtain, because you need it to do and face a curtain when you do it, you have to count how many times exactly that you recite this particular ritual. Then you recite another ritual again, like 300 times, and then suddenly the jinn then comes out from the curtain, and then he is then your slave.
And this is, of course, the genie in the lamp from Aladdin. Genie, jinn, same thing.
Yes, that's right.
And he grants you wishes.
Apparently, I spoke to the Indian guy that actually, draw me the details and how to do it and stuff. And I said to him, have you done that before? And he said, yes, I have. And I said, so why don't you just get this gin to magic anything you want, and then you won't have to do anything that you're doing for me now? He said, the thing is, what you seem to forget, Leeowen, is that it's all about helping people. That's what I do. I like to help people. Magic is nothing but energy.
Yeah.
It's just just a form that we use when we think it's something that someone can't explain. It's magic, but it's not. It's a science. Everything is a science to it, generally. Yeah. So yeah, and it was. I've got loads. I've literally got a whole box full of artifacts of rings, jewelry, all things that have been blessed, and this, that, and the other. I still have them in my house, and I still have all these different genie ritual.
Oh, maybe we'll do that in a follow-up call.
Yeah, no worries.
That's really interesting. I came prepared, by the way. I've got a piece of moldavite here.
Mold, oh my gosh, the most powerful stone that there is to ever enter this earth.
I didn't know you were going to say that, but this is a 14 billion year old meteorite from Czechoslovakia.
That's it. It came in on a massive rock, exploded. I had a piece of that, Mark. I cried for 3 days straight when I had that. So that is talk about cleansing. It really prepared me for what I'm going through probably now.
This has helped me out. This has helped me out so much I can't even tell you. And this one is, do you recognise that one?
No. Is that blue in texture, or was that?
No, it's kind of black and shiny.
Okay, tourmaline. Is that tourmaline?
No, it's no, not far off. It's shungite.
Oh, shungite. Yes, I have heard of that.
Which is high carbon crystalline thing. But this one, moldavite, is the reason I got this is because I was researching what this kind of scrambles your signal, doesn't it?
Gosh, it opens up. Honestly, Mark, when I had that, I think it's not for the faint of heart. It's called the transmutation stone because it really does. It completely transform you. It really does. Very powerful stone.
I keep it in my pocket.
Yeah, all the time. Gosh, you'll believe I used to have a piece of it in my car actually, and I'd always have it with me. But I don't know what I've done with it now. But I've sort of gone away from the crystals. My wife actually, she wears a rose quartz crystal, and she has to charge it up every now and again just to keep it.
My understanding of these things is that they have a consciousness as well, and when their work is done with you, they find their way somewhere else. That's probably why yours is not with you anymore, because it's
not with me anymore. That's right.
It's probably in somebody else's pocket. So these things are real. Why are they here? What's their purpose? What are they about? What do you know?
From my experience, these entities that have come through, they're not all human, human entity spirits. Some of these energies and stuff that I've came across, they haven't even got bodies, and some of them are really kind of. It's like anything. Everything has a purpose and it has a place. And sometimes we don't always understand that purpose and place of these entities. I've asked the golden question, where do you come from? And this, that, and the other. And I think, like has been said in scripture, there is a war going on. And there's been a war going on for some time. And what I found is the more enlightened I've become, the more that they've been pressing down on me and people like me, like yourself. They've turned it up. And I was getting really upset and really annoyed because I felt like someone's tried to put the shackles on me and they're not letting me go where I'm supposed to be going. But when I talk to my higher self and my spirit guides, they often say to me, Leeowen, you've got to wait for the rest of the world to catch up. You've got so far to where you need to go. And those people around you are also, finding their way and getting where they're supposed to go. So I'm like a child that wanted it all yesterday, wanted to be, I, like yourself, Mark, you've had some wonderful experiences, not only with, as I say, the psychedelic side of things, but within your, within, even as you say, as when you were younger, you see certain things and those kinds of things that have come forward to you, and they all let you know that you're a part of something really like a lot larger than what you could explain, and we all are. And that's really hard for me to put that into words, because sometimes our English language doesn't give it any justice about
I think it's designed that way, to be honest.
Yes,
that's another
absolutely.
Subject. That's another subject.
Yeah.
But that's really interesting, because most people that go on any kind of inner quest are trying to find out what their purpose is.
Yes.
And and your purpose is not to go to work every day for 40 years and then have a mortgage and then die. That is not our purpose. So, and I think that's why this is a relevant conversation to have right now, because I mentioned what I'm really interested in, apart from this great awakening. I think these abilities that we have as human beings to see these other things in other frequencies, to see and feel the earth and the universe is our salvation, and it is our birthright, and it's
birthright, absolutely.
And I feel I really feel it's coming. And there's a couple of things I wanted to ask you about, and that is this concept of the golden age, and this date of, I think it's December 22nd that I've heard about. Have you heard about that date being significant?
Yes, I heard about the calendar. I mean, like yourself, we're all waiting for the Big Bang to happen in 2012. In fact, the calendar's all quite off, and it would make sense that this year is really the ascension part of the year, and not probably back in 2012. But not to say that those I didn't have, and like yourself probably, and like many others, didn't have some strange things have happened. But I felt over the past, I mean, this year alone, I think when I came into this year, I said to my wife, I said, there's something's going to happen this year. And she said, what do you mean? I said, I don't know. I feel really sad. I feel like the whole planet's going to experience something. And we just waved it off. And I live like not far from a pub, literally a stone throw from my door. And we often go out for something to eat and have a game of pool together and stuff. And we looked at the TV screen, Sky News was on, all this stuff was happening in China. And when I got back home, and I said to the wife, I looked and I went, hey, what's going on here then? What are they covering? And I knew, and my wife, she was just like, oh, Leeowen, you're Mr. Conspiracy, and I've kept a lot of my stuff under wraps, because it's not always for the faint heart. Like, as I say, talking about entities and being attached to people and things like that. That's not until I actually took my wife for an experience by doing the regression stuff that I do, that she personally experienced an entity being pulled out from underneath her, that she actually felt it and see it. Then she was like, okay, maybe there is some validity to what you're saying. So it was quite nice, actually, because I've pushed the boundaries of consciousness, like beyond the universe. This is another thing, is people think that this universe that we're in, they say it's infinite, but it's not. There are many, many, many universes, and they all have different rules. And I've spoken to different entities and things of such things to say that, for example, in our universe, for example, hot and cold, up and down, left and right, whereas something in another universe would be completely different. And so I found that quite interesting, and also with the planet Earth and stuff like that. I think when was I? I was probably in my late 20s at the time, and I remember going out for something to eat, and I remember this voice sort of piped up really strongly and said, Leeowen, where you're going, mate, you won't need to eat food anymore. And I went,
no, what you mean, no more my protein?
No more my protein. No, I often, I've been hitting the gym for the last 20 years. So, but yeah, anyway, no, but they turned around and this energy and spirit said, where you're going, mate, you won't need to eat anything. You won't need to do anything like that. And I was just like, okay. And obviously we're talking about ascension. We're talking about these entities and stuff. These entities, where they came from, I personally think doors have been opened. Doors of places have been opened to let these in, to cause the havoc that, on the earth. And I do really believe, probably my intuition says at least 70 to 80% of this planet have got some kind of entity attached to them that does not serve them in the highest and best way.
Yeah.
Whenever I talk about entities with people, what I tend to do is how I can get what is good and what's bad. I always say, does this entity serve this person to the highest and best way for this person? And you'll generally get a no. Okay, well, you're not supposed to be there then. And then I then go through the process of disconnecting them. But what I find is with entities in general, they tend to attach themselves to certain strong emotions like fear, resentment, anger, judgment, guilt. You know, those kind of powerful emotions, they tend to sort of levitate towards the weaknesses of our being. So
well,
that
this year is basically an entity farm.
oh, massively.
Look, let's have loads of fear, get everybody infected so they can't think straight.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't say I was going to ask you this question, but are there any entities on me now?
Yeah, thank you for that. I got that quite quick. Yes, but good ones. You're okay. You're good.
Oh, really?
Yes, but good ones. Yeah.
I thought we were going to do a demonic, exorcism live on the channel.
Alive? No, I don't feel that that's probably it. But I think you have maybe some inner things, i.e., through. I see actually on one of your videos you spoke about a person doing some heart energy healing. I've got a few tools on the tool belt that I can that I use. You see, there's not a one size fits all. Generally, everybody needs something different. Some people might need a chat. Some other people might need heart healing. Some other people might just need a bit of a clear and a balance. But generally, I ask, what does that person really need? And for you, I would go as far as to say straight away, the vision has come straight to my head, and it's inner child. It's the first thing that's come straight to my mind. For you being young, inner child, 100%. So that's what I would do work with, is in loving that inner child. The problem is with us, those kind of people that have experienced, traumatic, like everyone has a history, has a story to tell, but I find that that inner child sort of, when you have an experience, there's a part of you that gets locked into that place. And then you'll move on being an adult, doing adult things. And then you almost like the inner child doesn't know how to have fun anymore because it's still stuck in that particular rut. And then when you actually sort of take yourself, well, I can take you through that, take you through that now, where you will literally give your inner self or your inner child a hug, tell your inner child that you're okay, and that you're going to be, absolutely great. I'm giving you all the love and the cuddles that you could possibly need, and nurture. The biggest word is nurture. The problem is that through life, when we go through these experiences, is that that inner child doesn't get nurtured enough. And how you can nurture that inner child is generally doing quite fun but child things. I mean, I've got a young son, and which does help me, so I can do fun things by going over the park, climbing things, playing hide and seek, and there's a little part of you that kind of really enjoys to do those things, providing that your inner child is happy. And if your inner child is not happy and not loved, then you tend to then be a bit more sort of sheltered and with the wall up, so to speak. So yeah, probably inner child work is more so for you. Your heart is good. With the things that I'm getting, there's a little bit of you're still tangled up with, say, an ex-partner. I can still see lines there that are still connecting you to an ex-partner, and these need to be severed. You need to make your peace with that situation, and then boom, you will then become more clearer. And the thing is, with energy and entities and things like that, they always play on your fears, Mark. That's what they're designed to do. And these places and people in higher powers that mess around with this kind of stuff, they know this. They've caused so much.
Absolutely. They understand this 100%.
Yeah, and you know, they plays to all your weaknesses, and I find that even like with for example my wife, I have to pull things off her quite regularly
No,
because
that's why I wanted to talk about this kind
yeah,
of thing on this channel,
yeah.
because this is not about a virus. This is
No,
about
no, 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 no.
this is
It
about
never has been about a virus. It never has
yeah,
been.
not at all. It's a spiritual war, 100%.
Yeah,
You know,
there is a
this is
spiritual
why I
war
read
going on.
books like this.
Yes, yes,
It's quite a rare one,
brilliant.
actually.
Yeah.
You'd like this one. This is written by a guy down the road,
Oh, brilliant.
Thomas
Oh,
Sheridan. He's very good. A couple of things popped up there. Firstly, when you said the inner child thing, now is
I can see that instantly that you've associated something with yourself. I can see your whole body language and everything has changed. So it's hit something, maybe hit a nerve, so to speak.
there was a traumatic thing that happened to me when I was in the womb,
Oh, okay.
right? Which
Mm-hmm.
you know, yeah. So
What was it
I
like?
agree, but I have spent most of my life being childlike, and you know I'm very playful in life, and I try to try to give my kids. I've got 5 kids. I try to give as much fun as possible.
Of course. I bet for the kids, God, that keep you busy. Yeah.
But there was, there was this period. Well, quite a long period of darkness, you know,
Mm.
and I think I'd forgot. I don't know. I kind of got disconnected from God.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when my dad died when I was 17, I stood outside. I remember standing outside the Chapel of Rest and just shouting, "I hate you" at the sky.
Yeah.
And from that day onwards, I
Mm.
don't know. I felt like I tried to live each day as if it was my last, which meant that I was enormous fun. It meant I was the one who was buying the drinks at the bar.
Yeah.
I had a load of fair weather friends, but you know, I got myself into sort of sticky situations. I did stupid things, and then you know, it wasn't always good.
No, I bet. I worked security for 15 years. I worked in bars and nightclubs and things like that. And
Oh, you
that
must
was
have seen it
really, really
all.
interesting.
You must.
So,
That was like a theme park for you.
honestly, Mark, I'll tell you this story now. I remember I was at the bar. I was standing away from the bar. There was a bunch of, where I live, there's an army base not too far away. And they'd always come out in the town. There was 30 guys all kicking off at the bar. And this is at the time where I was, my spiritual energy was at its peak. And I remember saying, oh gosh, I can't be bothered to go over there and sort out these guys. Now, my guide said, no worries, I'll sort it. A blue light came from my chest, went over to the group of people and stopped everything that was going on. And when I walked over there, and it was almost as if they'd all stopped what they were doing. And I didn't understand what was going on. And then when I stood back and I said to my guide, I said, what did you do? He said, easy, I just changed the energy.
Wow.
So for me, I was like, wow, you know, that was a big, and I had many moments like, obviously, you know, the lion detector, oh yeah, but it was him. And I'd get a voice saying, no, he's lying, Leeowen, put him out. I was like, okay, see you later, buddy. You know, so it was quite fun, and I had many weird, wonderful experiences like that. So yeah,
I think President Trump might be calling you to join his security team.
oh gosh, imagine that, eh?
I think he's got protection, you know, unbelievable protection.
I'm
They tried to kill him numerous times.
What I'm going to do, Mark, is what I'm going to try and do, like, which is what I did a while ago. I tried to tune into our so-called Queen, and she had a big psychic protection around it. It did not want to give me any energy. Didn't want to give me any information. So I don't know how that's sort of looking now, but at the time when I did that, I was blocked off. Nothing would let me go in. So that was quite interesting. So what I may do is my trusty wife, I may use her as the channel, and I'm going to go to Donald Trump and ask him if it's okay. I might speak to his higher self, talk to his energy, see if it's okay, and just to see what is genuine. Because the thing is, you can get into real deep and stuff that you would not normally know. But it's all generally to do with their energy and where they accept, you know, whoever's connecting with their energy, whether they give any information. But generally, I find that with truth and things like that, and if he is a good person, or if there was good things going on, then I would be able to get some sort of relay back to say, yay, that's good. So
that'd be really interesting. Should we do that live?
Cool. I think is what I tend to do, so I can be like the third party asking the questions. So what I tend to do is I use my wife as I say, as the channel. I regress her and I take her consciousness to Donald Trump, tune into him, and then I get her to have a conversation, and then obviously then she's talking and giving me the information that I want back to me. So like we're all part of like a triangle almost.
Well, listen, if she doesn't want to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll be way up for that. Honestly, Mark, that'd be brilliant. It's really good fun. Really good fun, because you can kind of take the consciousness anywhere that you like.
Well, let's do that in part 2.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, let's do it.
We've nearly been talking for an hour, and there's just, you know, and I know people. It's a long time for people to listen to. But part 2, there's a good reason to tune in. So let's do part 2 and do that, and then have a look at some of your things in the box. There's one other thing that pops up in my head, which is it was about a year and a half ago. I was stood outside this house, and something came out of me.
Yeah.
I felt it, and I looked to my left, and it was like, the best way of describing it, it was like a 6 foot tall rectangle that looked like oily black water, shiny oily black water, you know, rippling. And as soon as I looked at it, it didn't have a face, but it looked at me, and then it ran the other way. And somebody else was with me and saw it too.
Yes, it's really weird. It's a bit cliche, but I felt that there was some sort of native person that was standing with you at the time. It sounds a bit cliche. I haven't personally had a native Indian with me, but it sounds like you had some sort of energy and help there with that situation.
But you don't think it's like evil?
It's weird to define what evil is. I mean, evil in the sense of if it harms you and restricts your access to, you know, yourself and your inner abilities to have the full 360-degree intuition, then yes, I suppose you could class that as evil. I mean, I've had, it sounds really kind of weird, and that's going to be a bit crazy, but I've kind of tuned into all sorts of energies, like for example, the Lucifer energy, and the Satan energy and stuff like that, and I actually feel that they are all kind of different entities. They're not all one of the same. So that in itself, and again, the Lucifer energy, you can tell that why the big people, I say the big people, or the deep state people, you know, kind of worship that energy, because when I mean it's powerful in the sense that it would give you the same feeling as what the source creator of all that is would give you, but it's not. And it would happily, you know, pick you up, spurn you, you know, put you back in the system, and then spit you back out into another body until you're having another experience, you know. But then again, I find that all these experiences are allowed to take place, because what takes place is learning. You see, that's the big key thing. We all think everything to be negative. When we have a crap experience, like you get in your car doesn't start. You think, oh gosh, I have to wait, I don't know, an hour until I get my car sorted out so that I can get to work. Now, the interesting thing is that I've had those kind of situations, and I've said to Spirit, well, why has that happened? And they've gone, Leeowen, if we would have put you in that car at that time, you would have gone down the road, you would have had an accident. So
I very much do that, and have been doing that for years. Whenever anything like that happens, I'm like, okay, there's a reason for this. What is it?
Yeah,
and then suddenly I'm down a different path doing something else that I wouldn't have done if that hadn't happened.
Bingo.
And it's wonderful, because once you see life like that, actually, it becomes extremely easy. You know,
it does.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, Mark. I mean, even with all this lockdown nonsense, me and the wife, we've got out for some lovely walks. I've got beautiful wood area. I've got shores, 25 minutes from me where I can access. And I've been probably 100 times now. Was before I would never even thought about it.
That's great.
But now I love it, and I can't wait to get out there tonight. That's something I'll be doing later.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
Look, it's a really good. I really enjoyed that chat, and I learned a lot. And
no, thanks, Mark. It's been great. It's been really good.
I definitely want to do a part 2 at least. So let me know when you're free next, and be watching. There is a way of connecting with you. Shall we I'll put a link to your Facebook page in the description?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I'll give you the Source Healing by LBB page. Yep.
Fantastic. Don't make him too busy to deal with me. I've got my inner child to sort out.
Mark. Honestly, I'll be able to happily regress you, and you can have a full-on, lovely conversation with your inner child and have a good talk it out amongst yourselves, and then we'll bring that inner child back into the alignment of who you are. So yeah,
that'd be great. I'll tell you why that'd be great, because about 17 years ago, one of my nicknames was Dark Atwood.
Really?
Yeah. After a few drinks, dark shit. And the reason for calling this Adventures in the Meat Suit is because my mission is to just get rid of that completely. I think it's gone, but that would be.
Yeah. No. The thing is, Mark, like we spend all this time when we incarnate into this meat suit, as you rightly said. It is exactly that, and we're just so completely cultured into be told what we think we are, and that's always been the same. And I've had some dark moments in my life too, because I had some experiences that were really tough, just like yourself, and I just thought, what's the point in being here? And at that moment where I'd probably had enough, something had really sort of spoke up and said, Leeowen, you've got too much to do. You've got a lot to do as yet. You're not done. Yeah. I said, done. Okay, all right, let's go with this then.
You are definitely not done, mate.
No, absolutely. So that's good.
Absolute pleasure. I'll speak to you soon, mate. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Lovely to talk to you. Take care.
See you later.
See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.